We got the regional final today, and the game just started for UConn versus Illinois, and it's 9-0 already. And so this has the makings of either Illinois keeps it close or it's going to get ugly. I could see UConn running up the score on them, just because their ability, like they outscored in the Sweet 16 against San Diego State, against Stetson, they've just dominated. And so in my prediction, let's just go through each region. And I'll give my prediction on that. Okay, so for the East region, I would say easy prediction would be UConn. Right now, UConn is rolling. I would say from all the recent teams, like 2017 when North Carolina, 2016 when Villanova won it, from the Villanova squad in 2018 to roll into 2019, Baylor, Kansas. Out of all the teams that have won it recently, I would say the team that looks poised the most to go back-to-back is UConn. And it hasn't been done since Florida. And so it just has to do with the depth. Like, guys will get drafted and move on to the next round in the NBA. But these guys, they've just been able to reload. And here they are. I wouldn't say their schedule's been necessarily easy. But, here they are. They're one win away from going to the Final Four. Which a repeating defending champ hasn't been to the Final Four since the Florida team, because all the other guys, they've been eliminated in the Sweet 16 or something. But I don't think Illinois can stand in their way this year. I just think UConn's way too much, and so I'm going to pick them in that final. Between Duke and NC State, I think this has all the makings of, another great NC State run. I mean, DJ Moore, Diarra. Oh my gosh, this team has become a fun Cinderella team like St. Peter's a couple years back, Loyola Chicago. And I just think that Duke has the experience. I mean, Isaiah Roach was able to seal a couple layups the other day, Proctor with his defense. So, I mean, Duke with Filipowski, if they get him going, I mean, it could be slim pickings. But I just think, with big DJ Burns versus Filipowski, that's going to be a fun matchup to watch. But right now, just with how it sits, where Duke's becoming themselves again, because I mean the absence of Coach K, obviously that's going to be a huge impact. They haven't been able to recover, I would say, just because I mean Coach K is what made Duke, and they're not going to be able to reclaim that until they start winning national championships. I think this isn't the year. I think that's not to say that their coach sucks and that they don't have the experience to get there. But right now, this is NC State's year. And so I would say that NC State, moves on, and we get to have another double-digit seed in the Final Four. And I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a fun, tight match. But, probably a last-second three-pointer defensive stop. They win by 3 or 2 points, and the Wolfpack move on, and they keep the Cinderella run going. Okay, so out of Purdue versus Tennessee, great matchup. I mean, two solid offenses. We got Zach Edey, his redemption arc, with Smith and the boys for Purdue after having lost last season. Everybody's talked about it. They seem so much more, motivated this year because, oh my gosh, they destroyed Utah State. They handled Gonzaga in the second half last game, which I thought the Zags were going to, get the upset and Purdue would have folded. No, this looks pretty solid. Hey, the Midwest, it ran through Purdue this whole time, and we're all delusional for thinking if it didn't. So I think that he's going to have his double-double, and I think just the defense of Tennessee, where they were worn out the other day against Creighton and blew that 18-0 lead, and Creighton was able to come back and they got it within striking distance where a few turnovers and clutch threes, it could have been the Blue Jays moving on. I think the Boilermakers are going to move on, and they're going to go to the Final Four and finally get there, because a lot of people have been calling it for the last couple seasons. And so I think they're going to get it done. For the West Final, where it's here we go, we're going to have, Bama versus Clemson Part 5. But instead of being on the gridiron, it's actually on the hardwood, where it's what if I told you that another great, rivalry game was actually basketball and not football? I think it's just so funny that the football schools beat up on the basketball schools, because Arizona is a basketball school. You look at the Arizona Wildcats, you don't think of football. You don't think of the Pac-12 champs. You don't think like that. You think, the Arizona basketball team. And here we go. They played Clemson. Clemson got the upset, and then Bama played North Carolina. We have a blue blood in football with the Tide, and then we have a blue blood with basketball. You know, winner goes to Arizona, represents in the Final Four. Like, I think it's so funny. And I mean, I think it's anybody's matchup. I think it's anybody's game. It's I saw a meme where it's like battle of two white boys, you know, because we got, you know, PJ Hall being the second coming of Trevor Lawrence, where if they win a national championship, he's the next best thing since Trevor. Just with how I'm leaning, I mean, this has anybody can win it. I'm just going to lean towards Clemson this time around, and that's going to be my prediction on that. So for the Final Four, we got UConn versus Clemson, NC State versus Purdue. From there, I mean, it has all the makings of, I mean, if the Cinderella run continues, NC State gets to the final, and then we have another underdog versus overdog where it's UConn versus NC State. But this has all the makings and all those people who had in the bracket, like, hey, Purdue versus UConn, like, that's starting to form a little bit. But again, it's March. March Madness can happen. We're bound to have a buzzer here. I mean, we haven't had any crazy, we have had crazy endings, but like, we're coming into the time where there's like something seems on the horizon. So that's my thoughts on that. I will catch you all in my post-game reaction. See ya.